Hi, my name is Alyssa. I am an intuitive life coach, and I'm going to come in weekly and give messages and synchronicities that I'm picking up on. So, week one, here we go. This week, the message that I've been receiving this week, it's been coming to me in a couple of different ways, is messages about scarcity. So, let's stop and ground what scarcity means. I don't have the exact definition, but it means not having enough of, right? If you have scarce materials, you don't have enough. And so there is not enough to go around by definition, right? And a lot of these things have been passed through generations. A lot of these ways of thinking and beliefs have been passed down through our ancestors for good reason. There were periods where there weren't enough resources, right? But now we're in this time period where for the most part, a lot of us will be fed. We will find the money to pay our rent or our mortgage. Generally, we are in a time of having enough. So the interesting thing about scarcity, though, is that it doesn't just relate with money. And that's where a lot of my synchronistic messages have been coming in this week. So let's talk about some of those ways that scarcity might be rearing its head. So the first way is money, of course. We kind of touched on that already. And we've all seen that. I think that's the most common understanding of scarcity. And it comes up for a lot of people. I think it's an issue that a lot of people deal with. Another way scarcity can come up for people is with time and energy. So we are in a fast-paced culture, right? We are doing a lot. We're moving fast. We're achieving a lot. We're productive. Go, 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 go. So that leads to burnout, okay? And a lot of us have experienced burnout. It's not a fun feeling. It's avoidable too, but we have to learn those lessons on our own. Anyways, I digress. So if you have burned out before or many times, your body's going to start to protect you. It's going to start feeling like, no, I don't want to go to burnout again. I'm exhausted there. I'm the worst version of myself, whatever goes on in your head. And so it's going to protect you. So the way it's going to protect you is you're going to start to feel scarcity in your energy and your time. I've gone through this actually pretty recently, and it's totally understandable. And there are seasons for staying in and doing less and kind of bowing out of your normal pace, right? We all need rest. But this goes a step further. This is a step further when you are rested and rejuvenated and you've caught up on me time and whatever else it means for you. And you still are feeling really protective of this energy. You don't want to overdo it, right? And it can kind of show its head in being really introverted, which also fine, totally fine. But as an extrovert, that is one of the ways I retreat and I go into energetic scarcity. So hopefully that makes sense. I hope that's tied a connection for some of you. The next one is success. This is also a pertinent one for me right now. I am branching out into my own business, and there's a lot of things that come up for me in terms of fear of failing, and there is this scarcity feeling of if other people have success, there's not room for me to have success. Or if another person has succeeded in this line of work, then there's no space for me to succeed in this line of work. It's these stories that as soon as you bring to light, you know that's not true. Because if someone said that to you about themselves, you would say, no, there's plenty of room for both of you to find success. But I think a lot of people do live in this. And I think a lot of maybe jealousy and greed is tied to that, right? That you're going to hold on tight to what your achievements are because you don't want someone else to take it away with theirs, right? I think sometimes our mind can kind of work behind the scenes. So if some of this isn't resonating for you, just take it with a grain of salt. Take what works and leave what doesn't. These are just examples. The last one is kind of tied into the ones we've also already talked about, materials. That kind of ties in with money and resources, but I will bring it up anyways. I think this one shows up, it comes to me actually with kids, right? When they don't want to share. That's actually just such like an innate thing. It's something that we learn as humans at a really young age, right? Like my toy, my mom, my whatever it is. And that's not a sign of them being bad kids, not that they would be anyways, but it's just this normal, I don't even want to say normal. It's a human thing that we work through, and hopefully we all get to a point where we realize that there's more than enough toys to go around, right? Like that's the 3-year-old version of it, but there is more than enough of this beautiful earth and its resources to go around. And I think a lot of us end up getting there. Um, so a few of these too, I just kind of want to relate them with some things that they can cause. So a lot of these are going to cause us to withdrawal from the world, right? If you're feeling a lot of these feelings of scarcity, it is going to cause you to pull back from community, pull back from friendship, pull back from asking for help. Um, Maybe just like this energy of feeling like you have to muster it up all by yourself, like you need to do it by yourself, right? Like we live in a culture of that, so that's not unheard of, but energetically, I think we can all sort of understand how that's not helpful, right? We were meant to live in community, and we were meant to have support and be supported and thrive in friendship, right? So let's just put all of that to the side now. Those are some of the ways scarcity can come up, and those are some of the things that it can cause, and we'll kind of circle back to some of those things. So now I want to talk about the other side of that. The other side of that is plenty and abundance. So those I also feel like are self-explanatory, but let me just go into them a little bit to give you all some examples. Abundance is the same thing as scarcity in that it can relate to so much more than money and resources, right? If we're abundant in love, we are going to overflow and we're going to love on our family and our friends. If we're abundant, we're going to give what we have, and then by the nature of the world, and it's going to be given back to us, right? Like what we give, we get back. And so abundance is just, in my opinion, the opposites of scarcity, and it just similar to scarcity, it can be in any form. So that's why an abundant mindset and way of being is worth meditating on for what it means for you, because it's one of those things that, again, we hear the word, we hear the meaning, but what does it mean to you to be abundant? For me right now, abundance looks like pursuing the things I love and being true to myself. And through that, the overflow of being filled up is going to overflow to my family and my friends, and in complete love, right? That is like the ultimate goal for me. But of course, I want abundance in material ways too. I would be lying if I said I didn't. We're human. So abundance lines up with plenty. And I would like to also say with that is sometimes plenty is just enough. So we live in a culture where plenty has to mean millions of dollars, when really an abundant mindset is going to be so happy with just enough to pay our bills and take our family to a movie theater once a month, right? Like abundance doesn't need to be this massive amount of anything. So stuff, money, we just, as humans, we all desire these basic things: safety, love. I'm missing a billion, but when we're taken care of in those ways, we are abundant. And that's so beautiful, right? We don't need millions of dollars to feel abundant, right? So we have our two polarities. We have scarcity and abundance. And then I just want to take time to focus on like the middle part and getting from scarcity to abundance, okay? So, because in some areas of our life, we might be really living abundantly. And then in other areas of our life, we might, without even knowing it, have some scarcity thoughts. So, getting from, I don't know which way I did it, there to here, okay? Um, Really, and again, another one of those things we hear over and over, but hear me out, awareness. So, if we are aware, if we are present in the moment, not living up here in our mind, if we're here in our body and feeling things that come up, noticing what comes up and not twirling around in it, that's being aware. It's being present. It's being conscious, right? Those are different ways to say it. So if you are living in awareness, by nature, you're living in ease. The more exhausting way to live our life is not conscious, and that is just we're spinning up in our hamster wheel, right? Over, all day, all day, all day. We all get caught, or most of us get caught up in the hamster wheel, but hopefully we kind of come back from the hamster wheel. Ideally, we're all working towards this point in life where we're less in the hamster wheel and more just aware of the thoughts. There's going to be periods of busier thoughts. There's going to be periods where you're meditating and your mind just cannot get there. That's totally normal. There's going to be busier times up here. The point is, if we can practice awareness, it's going to be easier for us, right? It's so much more restful to be conscious because we're noticing all of our thoughts, but we are not getting lost in them, right? It's just, that's like a mental marathon, and it's debatably more exhausting than a physical marathon, right? If you are going through a really emotionally tumultuous time, that's so hard. It's so emotionally draining. So, this awareness and then therefore ease in our life is going to kind of almost like self-produce abundance, because not only are we going to notice this scarcity, but we are going to take time with it. In awareness, you're going to be with it. You're going to meditate on it. And if you're aware, you're not going to get super stressed, right? If you're conscious of it, you're just kind of there with it. And like we are told, is the biggest point in growth is noticing, right? So awareness is going to create ease, and this is so much of it. And then once we have this awareness of these old thought patterns that aren't working, it's going to naturally ease in to abundance and plenty. And so the last point I kind of want to make to like tie it all together is we have these like two sides. We have scarcity and then we have abundance. And then we have this inner work, which is a conscious life, okay? If you kind of notice, and hopefully I'm not going too much on like a like side talk, but over here and over here are their feelings, their states of being, right? A scarce state of being or an abundant state of being. Those are states of being you can't create, you just are, right? Like it kind of comes naturally. The work in the middle that goes from here to here, what moves it, that is consciousness. And so if you notice, this conscious awareness is basically the key. It's the gateway from scarcity to abundance. And so I guess if I could have just like one takeaway for this message, it's not to get overwhelmed by all the ways that you feel scarcity in your life. The best thing you can do is be present with yourself, and as you do, this awakening is going to naturally bleed into abundance and plentiful life. So it's less about doing and it's more about being. You know, we've heard that too probably. So you don't need to go make a to-do list to get out of your scarcity mindsets. Not gonna, it might help. Might help. Go find, make some mantras. But for the most part, the best thing we can all do is to just to really be and notice and be gracious with yourself when you notice in yourself. You don't need to go beat yourself up. And yeah, I think I'm at 15 minutes and I think I said what I wanted to say. So I hope this resonated and thank you so much for being here today and hearing my thoughts of the day. Take care. Bye.